Hello, my name is Alan Oyugi. I'm here in my capacity as a film director, but also in the film industry, I'm also known as an actor, and I have also produced a few of my own documentaries. I would like to talk a little bit about what I've done in terms of film directing. Perhaps I could start with the beginning of my journey. I was always interested in film directing, or in some form or the other being part of the filmmaking process. But being, in this country, some of these opportunities don't come that easily, especially when one wants to pursue it academically. So the only chance that I could get was learning film directing on the job. The best opportunity that came my way was in 2013, 2014, when somebody gave me an opportunity to be a shadow director on a local TV series. Now, this is a very interesting story. I'd like to give you a part of the story so you understand my journey. I came in as a shadow director to this lady who was directing this series, star-studded cast, big budget. It was a bit intimidating for me to even be on that set. And we shot for 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks I think we did probably about 4 episodes, the first 4 episodes of this show. And as it would happen, there was a bit of a disagreement between the executive producer, and the director, leading to the sudden resignation of the director. So what happens? I was called and told, Alan, you've been shadowed for the past 2 weeks. I think you've got a grasp of what happens on set. Take over. That was scary because the actors were already used to this particular director. They liked her style. They got along very well. And here I am, a guy who's just come from nowhere. And then now they're told, this is your new director. So here I am. I'm new on set. I've only been a shadow director for about 2 weeks. And my executive producer gives me a call and says, Alan, the director has quit, and I think you can take over. You have been on set for long enough to understand the workings of the film set. Here you go. Marky, as I told you, these were, a group of what I would call A-class actors on set. They already had an opinion even before we started. But the gift I think that God has given me is the gift of being able to communicate with people, make them be at ease and understand that, look, this is a job we're doing. Let's just get along and let's get on with it. I was very fortunate to have a very good crew to work with, an excellent crew to work with. The people that I knew firsthand, and they were very, very, very helpful when it came to some of the technical aspects of filmmaking. That in itself helped me understand my strengths when it came to filmmaking or directing. And I would like to call myself more of a creative director. And I leave the technical aspects to the technical team. Like, if you have a good DP next to you, you have a good sound recordist next to you, you will be good. We will have those necessary conversations on the side. However, when it comes to the performance of the actors, then these are the skills that you need. I find it very important that one should be able to put people at ease. There are certain directors who are what I would call dictators on set. They'll dictate what they want, and that's it. There's no conversation. That's it. They demand that the actor does what they say. As for me, that is not what I look at. I prefer having conversations on the side. We can sit down and chat about each person's character, what they think about their character, how they want to develop their character. And then I will guide them in the process as we go along. Because if I give you the freedom, once we understand what our characters are supposed to be like, once I give you the freedom to think it through and bring out the best in you, give me the best, then let me lower. If you're overboard, then let's come down, as opposed to when somebody's down there and you're trying to raise them up. It's very difficult. And the only way you can do that is by having open channels of communication on set. I want to say this. As a director, if you're able to bridge or be the bridge between your cast and your crew effectively, you have a winner. But the moment, and I've seen this on set before, where certain directors have a bias towards one side. They want to spend more time with cast, or they want to spend more time with crew. They will be behind camera discussing the shot and the lens and everything, and totally disregard what the actor is going through. Perhaps it's a scene where, a very heavy scene where the actor probably even broke down. And the director is busy looking at what shots, what angles, what light and all that. And you miss out on the emotion of the moment that could have carried or created probably one of the best scenes that you've ever had in your film. So I think it is very important for every director to create a balance and be the bridge between crew and cast. That is one of the key things that you must remember at all times. I have seen situations where directors tend to favor one side. They're more technical or more artistic. And perhaps, say for example, there's a scene where the actor was going deep into the emotions, perhaps even breaking down. But the director was busy looking at the lighting or the cables or something and the other. And you miss out on probably what would have been one of the best scenes you've ever directed or shot. And when you lose that in terms of the cast, if you lose your cast in that kind of situation, you'll never get it back. Same case, there are things that when you're busy looking at your cast and digging into your character and everything, and you're losing out on what your crew is telling you, then again you miss out on some of the finest pictures you could ever put into those cameras, into those lenses. So as a director, I think one of the first and key things that you have to understand is that you are the fulcrum, you're the center, you're the hub around which everybody coalesces on set. From the production, to the crew, to the actors. I want to be very clear about this. I'm not here to critique or criticize any style of directing. Every director employs a certain style of directing because they know this is what works for them. This is what creates the kind of success they want on set. I prefer to use a more creative style, more artistic style of directing, which involves the actors on a one-on-one basis with me, going into the characters and helping them develop their understanding of the character and looking into the performance of that character or of the particular actor. This has helped me a lot, especially the dramas, local TV dramas, because right from the start, the reason why I said in the beginning that I always wanted to direct is the moment I understood the difference between our local productions and the productions that were coming in, that were shown on way back then on KBC and on VOK, that seemed to be more superior. I always wanted to know, why is it that these guys have something, a more superior performance than we do? I could never get my finger on it until somebody explained to me the role of the director. Because we have the talent, we have amazing actors, we have amazing crew. But to put this together, to bring the best out of them, we always had a shortfall in terms of direction. The first, and this was, it may be related in a sense, but the first director that I ever came across wasn't even a film director. He was a stage director. And because he was so thorough in what he did, and he made us understand everything that we did on stage as actors, it was very easy for me to translate what he was doing later on as a TV or film director, because I began to understand how something could be built from within me and not just acting for the sake of saying words or being seen on a screen. To bring out the real emotion, to bring out the real character, it needed that kind of negotiation, that kind of conversation from a skilled director. That to me is something critical, especially for us in Africa. Our African films have lacked that. We have the equipment. We may not have the best, but we have good enough equipment. We have the talent. We've got very talented people in the continent and in Kenya. But merging those two has always been a challenge. There's a very interesting question I've been asked before. Is it important for one to be an actor to be a good director? And I'd answer it this way. It's a two-pronged thing. It's neither yes or no. There are those directors who are very good, who've produced some of the most amazing films, who've never acted before. There are those directors who've used their acting skill to produce some of the best films that we know. However, for me, I would also add by saying this. Having been an actor has been of great help to me in my time as a director, because I know what it feels like being in front of camera. There are moments where the pressure can get to an actor, and being able to pick those out very quickly is so important, because you might miss out on something. If you've never felt it before, you might not be able to quickly shut down maybe a problem that's about to explode, or build up on something that was just, probably just festering underneath, but needs to be boosted in an actor. Therefore, it works both ways. But I think there is indeed a great advantage. There's a great advantage if one has been an actor. The certain skill, the technical skill, I think one could learn if they were interested in learning. But the emotion, the time, the effort that it takes to perform as an actor, and then being able to translate that as the director on the other side of the camera and see where this person is, I think that is invaluable. I don't want to be biased just because I've been an actor before, but I think I would recommend that one would try to be an actor before they take on the role of director. Something else that that is interesting of late, we've noted that with the advent of social media and with all these apps that people use, and people are out there, they've gotten following and so on, and they've done one or two things that have gone viral. Now people call themselves directors. I don't want to put down what they're doing. I applaud them very much for all the good work they do. But before you call yourself a director, there's a lot of work to be done. Even for me, despite the fact that I've directed quite a number of films and series and all that, I still feel that I am way, way, way behind when it comes to being at the level that I want to be. And the only way each one of us who wants to become a director can develop our skill is by learning more, read more, watch more films, listen. Every opportunity that you're on set, find out why certain things are being done, why the director is making certain decisions. Interrogate those decisions that are being made by the director before you can call yourself a director. being on TikTok once or twice, so it doesn't quite cut it yet. We are not at that place yet. To develop film in Kenya to the standard that is required internationally, I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done. We need to learn more. I would love, personally, to learn as much as I can, because there's the new methods, there's new equipment. The other day I was watching this group of guys, they're about 4 guys, who did a film in their little house. It's a very short film called Spice of Life. If it's on YouTube, you can go and watch it. And then there's the making of Spice of Life. And when I watched that, I was blown away as to how technology has advanced to a point where it can be reversed. We can go back even to use merge old technology with current technology and produce films even in a set as small as this. And when you watch it, you think it was shot in Hollywood. I think that's where we're supposed to be going as Kenyans. And to direct something like that, trust me, you will not do it by having some short videos on the street. I don't mean to put down anyone who is doing that. Keep on shoot as much as you can. But remember, you're building on something. You must build on something. And the only thing that you're building on is knowledge. If you have no knowledge, you have nothing to work with. A director's strength lies in his ability to think on his feet and make key decisions, even when things are really difficult, and they will be difficult. How do you come up with the certain decisions that you make? How do you decide which crew to work with? How do you decide whether the set is good enough to work with? I'll give you a little story. I was asked to replace a director who was unable to finish a certain project. And this show was supposed to be the look of the show was supposed to be high-end. The actors were supposed to be living in luxury, supposed to be a rich man with cars and all this, beautiful cars and a beautiful home. So I get on set and I am shown the office that is supposed to be used by the main character. He's a billionaire, remember. And the office was a plain white-walled room, about 12 by 12 feet in size, a desk, a chair, and a few items on the desk. Mark you, the crew is there, people are ready to shoot, they've spent money to get onto set, and I told the producer, sorry, this won't do. He couldn't believe me when I said, we're not shooting this scene because this is like, we've spent money. I said, yes, we've spent money. I know you've spent money, but somebody should have advised you right from the start that you must follow through everything. There's something called believability. What is the audience going to believe? Are they going to believe that Mr. X is a rich man when he's in a room that is plain? And that scene was not shot until I was satisfied that the room or the space that we were given befits the character we were portraying. You have to be able to say no to your producer and say things must be done as they ought to be done. And those are some of the decisions that are made in pre-production. When people are sitting down, we agree. What look are we settling on? What space do we have? What colors do we have? As a director, you must understand, I don't want to go into those details, but you must understand the color palette and so on. Because to effectively shoot a good film, all these things must be in place. I'd rather we wait 6 months or 1 year and not shoot until everything is ready. When it comes to your crew, who is going to be your DP? One of the most important things to me, I believe, is to have a crew that you respect and that respects you as a director. You might not necessarily be friends. In fact, you don't have to be friends. But so long as there is respect and there's good communication, you will have a good team to work with. I'm going to say something a bit unfair, and please do not judge me on this, but I go by the saying, if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. There are people I've worked with in the past, and because we worked so well together, I keep on calling them over and over for my projects. It's not really the best thing to do because it's good to give other people a chance. And I do give chances every time I can. If the DP recommends someone else because he might be busy for this particular project, I will bring on that other person. But it's so good to have a team that you can rely on. There are those guys you can call. There's those sound guys you can call. There are those art guys you can call. And you know they will deliver, they will perform. It makes your work so much easier as a director. As opposed to, you're always fighting. You're always fighting your crew. You're always fighting the guys that you keep on changing. You keep on changing, getting new guys. You'll never have this team that you can actually call your team, that you can rely upon in any circumstance. So that to me, that is key. And of course, some of these relationships have blossomed and developed into, good relationships. Get to know who your crew are. Get to know about their families. Not just about work. It's your duty as a director to know that everybody on your set is okay. Are they okay? Are they fine? What challenges are they facing? So you need to take time to build that kind of relationship. And it's built over time. You'll be most likely at some point or the other thrown into a room where, yes, a decision has been made. This is going to be the crew that you're working with. Find time to get to know them. Don't be sitting in a lofty place as director and say, I have no time to talk to those guys. We're only working. No, I look at it very differently. I think those interpersonal relationships build towards something great for the future. For a film to come together and for the audience to sit back and enjoy it, there are certain things that must happen. And it is a long, probably very tedious process. You must be ready. You will have probably your first meeting with the executive producer and script writer and producer, and they will present you with a script and say, we've written this script over the past X number of days, months, years. This is a story we want to run with. Have a look at the script and see how you can direct this film. Now, that's where it all begins. You must read the script. Read and reread it. Understand it. Understand every character. Understand every scene. Understand every set. Begin to build the images in your head, like what the sets would look like. Begin to understand the emotions that go along with those scenes and those sets, so that when it comes to the building of those sets, you will give your input as a director, the colors that might be involved. You'll have that conversation with the art director. The kind of furniture that will be involved, if there is furniture, the kind of scene or scenery that is involved. It is important that you must be there for the recce. When you go, and these are places, the sets that are proposed by the location scouts and the location managers, you will go there, have a look, go digest it, get the feel. Because if already initially you had images in your head, you can tell if a space works or not. But also consider certain things. Some spaces look beautiful to the eye, but they don't look beautiful on camera. Some places don't look very good to the eye, but once it goes through the lens and with the right lighting, it is something else. So you must have the team with you when you go on recce, look at the locations, go through the script together, read it, and then now start building things like the cast. Start building your cast. You will have an idea of some of the characters or some of the actors you might know. But sometimes, yeah, I know people do it. People pick and say, I want so-and-so in my film. One of the most important processes in filmmaking for the director is the audition. As you build your cast, you'll need to build your cast. You'll have probably open auditions or closed auditions, depending on the magnitude of the film. All this is gelled or works around the budget. And in the budget making or budget allocation, the director must be involved. You need to know how much money has been allocated to each and every department. Because sometimes if you're not involved, you will want certain things on set, but right from the start, there was no money to do it. And then that you start fighting the art department, start fighting the sound department and so on. But if you're involved, you know this is the budget, this is what's involved, you can tell the producer or the executive producer, look, we can't work with this kind of budget. The kind of film that you want requires that you spend a bit more. Or, good enough, we have enough resources to do this and this and this. You can build this film from this level that you thought, you can even make it bigger based on your knowledge as a director. Those are key things that you must remember in pre-production. You will have conversations around the equipment. What kind of equipment are you going to use? What cameras are you going to use? Are you going to, because based on the kind of look that you want in your film, what equipment are you going to hire or buy? Those are some of the key principles that must be followed before we start anything. When all those things have been laid down, you have your equipment, you have your crew, you have your cast, you know your budget, you have your locations in place. When all those things have gelled and they're tight, then you can shoot. I've seen people try to attempt to shoot before all these things have been put in place, and it's always a disaster. I know of a case where somebody set out to do a series. He thought he had a lot of money. Well, he did have a good amount of cash, but the decision making was wrong because this is what he did. Instead of using the resources that he had to put together a good pilot, he decided to shoot 4 episodes. Because the budget was there, he could have shot the 4 episodes. He decided to shoot 4 episodes of this series and use that to pitch, which is fine. But some things do go wrong sometimes. So somewhere halfway through shooting, one actor wasn't available anymore. Somebody got sick, then some money got lost, and things just went haywire. To this day, he has about 7 scenes from episode 1, 9 scenes from episode 2, 3 scenes from episode 3, 8 scenes from episode 4. He cannot put them together to make anything. And it's been over probably, I think, about 4 or 5 years now. That was poor planning. Those are the key decisions that must be made right from the start. How are we approaching this film or this series? When all that has been in place and you manage to go on set and you shoot your film, the shooting process, as you know, is standard. You'll have your shooting days, you'll have your AD and script supervisors and your continuity and all that working together, put all that together and move into post-production. This is critical because this is where you'll work with your editors. This is where your dream, this is where your vision for this film comes to life. And if you didn't have it in the beginning, you'll not be able to fix it in the end. Yes, people say we'll fix it in post. No, that's not the way. I don't believe in that. Do it when you're on location. If it can be done, let it be done now, and then work with that in the edit. So you need to determine who is your editor, because there are different kinds of editors. There are those editors who are good at action. There are those editors who are good in like the mellow kind of series and all these soap operas and all that. Determine who is going to edit this thing for you. Go through the process with them. You have to be there in the edit suite to check every day. Is this film coming out like we had agreed, or like you had in your vision? Then after that, before I say too much, there's a look. Every film has its look. You as a director you should come up with the look for your film. The feel. Those are things that you learn as you go along. But it is you as a director to express to everyone on that set how this film should look finally when it's on screen. And it is only you who can steer it that way. Yes, the editor might assist, the DP will assist, but at the end of the day, it is the director's job to make sure it comes out as he had envisioned right from the start. Because those are the conversations you will have with your producer in pre-production. And you'll express to them, this is what I want. One thing I would encourage us to do, we don't do it very much here, but we need to do it more and more, is things like storyboards. We need storyboard artists. Many of our series or films do not have storyboards, but I find that having a storyboard is so critical because it cuts on time. You save a lot of time when you have a storyboard because you know exactly what we're going to shoot on a specific day. We're not going to guess as to how the image looks like. Have a clear vision in your head, what exactly I want to see on the screen. That indeed helps in the process of filmmaking. One of my favorite films was the film Gandhi. I watched it the first time when I was 11 years old. At that time, there was another film, I think it was James Bond, Octopussy, that had also come out, and everybody was going to watch Octopussy. But I watched Gandhi in the theaters as a little boy, probably 10 times. And to this day, I still watch that film because it was so real. You felt like you were there. Sir Attenborough captured, when Ben Kingsley lectured, that was Ben Kingsley's best or most famous, not really most famous, but his big debut in film was Gandhi because he played Mahatma Gandhi like it was him. And it took an amazing director to figure out, to go into India, to find the locations, to find the actors, and bring that amazing film to life. That's one of my favorite films. Followed very closely by Shawshank Redemption. I don't want to talk about that because many people have watched that film. But I would definitely recommend one to watch Gandhi. I say this because we have similar stories here in Kenya. There are personalities that we have in our country who we've never captured on film. And I think we have done them a big disservice, not telling their stories like Gandhi was told. I would definitely recommend that anyone who wants to go into directing watches the film Gandhi. But another very good film, I must say, that I've enjoyed in the recent times was Parasite. It caught me by surprise. And the main thing that I would like anyone watching that film, just watch what the director did with what I would refer to as juxtaposition, how he juxtaposes the characters and their lives, and how they merge and blend. It might pass you when you're watching it, and just you might concentrate on the story, but there's a deeper story being told through that film by use of the imagery that the director used. It's an amazing film, I must say. They did not win an Oscar just for the sake of it. They deserved it. Naweza sema hivi, youth wa Kenya wenye wanataka kufanya film ni kitu fiti sana. Lakini first thing, usikuje kuwa director juu unataka kutafuta ati juu ya do ama juu ya jina. The most important thing utapata out of film is satisfaction. Tafuta satisfaction, ukuwe satisfied. Fanya movie yenye watu wataongea for a long time. Wakucheki wone, mse alifikiria. And that ina take time. Usiharakishe. Anza chini. Jua job. Jua vile utafanya. By the time unakuja kuwa director, at whatever age, hata kama ni next year about 5 years, who knows? Mambo ni ya God. Lakini by the time unafika hiyo place, unasema mimi ni director. Uko umejifunza, uko impatient, utumie brain. Soma vitu, cheki, understand. Anybody can take a camera, shoot kitu na make movie. Si ufanye hivyo kila saa, si make vitu watu shoot ma movie, but kitu itafanya movie yako ikuwe different. Na watu tambueni director. Ni ulithink. Ulitell story ndani ya story. Mtu anawatch mara ya kwanza, akiwatch mara ya pili ndo anaanza kuona, by the way, hata hii side siko nimeona. That was me, Alan Oyugi, giving you a bit of my life as a film director. Life yangu iko na vitu mingi, but this is just one of the things that I wanted to share. I'm very grateful to Creatives Garage kunipatia an opportunity to share this with you guys. And hopefully you've benefited from what I have to say. Mimi si ule mwalimu mkubwa sana, but the one or two things that I know, I'm very willing to share with the audience. You guys out there. Nawashukuru sana kwa kunisikiza. And hope to see you again. Yeah?